Welcome to another Drag Race related channel. In today's video, I'm going to talk about the semi-final and the grand finale of Drag Race Italia Season 2. I won't get too much into detail of the grand finale because I want to really talk about it in my review video of the entire season, but I'm going to talk briefly about it. So let's get right into it. I want to start talking about Our Eternal, who had, in my opinion, the best roast in episode 7. Even though I agree that doing the average between Maxi Challenge and Runway, La Diamond should have won and rightfully won, I do think that Aura had hands down the best roast out of all of them. It was so natural, so quick, and so clever. I enjoyed it really a lot. And what I liked about her performance, it was how natural she was on stage doing it. It reminded me of her in episode 2 during the acting challenge that she won. She has such a comedic nature. Everything comes natural to her, and it's so good to watch her doing comedy. And the jokes were funny. Nothing was boring. She had a great rhythm in her jokes. It was just a great performance through and through. Her runway, I liked it. It wasn't my favorite. Like, at this point of the competition, we know that Aura's strength are not the runways, but I think it was good. When it comes to Skandalov, I didn't like her runway, and I do agree that looking at the entire episode, she deserved to be in the bottom 2. Still, I loved her roast. I know there are some people who are saying that the roast was too mean, that some jokes were too much, but you know what? I was laughing the entire time. It's a roast, it's supposed to be kind of mean, and she nailed it. And her last joke, the one about La Diamond, was so much fun. Like, I just loved her roast. But still, if we look at the average of the entire episode, I do agree with her bottom 2 placement. Same goes for La Petite Noire, who didn't do bad. I just think it was not her best week. And her runway was, it was fine. The thing is, she delivered so much on the runway for the entire season that this outfit felt a bit underwhelming. But still, it was good, don't get me wrong. It's just that compared to the other things that she wore throughout the entire season, this felt a bit lackluster. Her roast, I think she had good jokes, so it's not that I didn't like the roast. Just her comedic timing was not it. Like, some of the jokes didn't land because of her timing. And it wasn't bad, it was just not great. And if we look at the entire group of queens, it was the weakest one. When it comes to Nelenia, who I know doesn't want to be labeled as comedy queen because she does so much more, and I do agree with that. The thing is, she can do comedy, and she raised the bar so high for herself when it comes to comedy. And I do agree with the judges that her roast, even though it was fine, it was good, was not at the level that we were used to see from her. I liked it. Some jokes were good, but overall it was just a safe performance. Like, I wasn't laughing that much, and maybe this is just fault of the editing, because maybe it was just one joke when she did the voice of Eleanor Ferruzzi again. The thing is, as the audience, seeing her doing that impression every single episode, it was a bit like an eye roll. But it was not bad, it was just safe. Her runway, though, it was so spectacular. Like, it was so good. The reference, like, you get the reference right away. I thought of Hercules, the cartoon. It's just so good, so beautiful. The structure, the flowy fabric, that I don't know what that is. It just looks so expensive and rich. And it's, like, great job. As always, she delivers on the runway. And finally, we have La Diamond, who had a great roast. In my opinion, it was not as funny and as quick as Aura's, but I have to say, the jokes were good. She was able to land every single joke, and also her jokes were incredibly clever. Sometimes it took a little bit too long to get to the point, but the jokes were on point. The only thing that I didn't really like was that she was reading, she explained why, but yeah, as the audience, it was not the best thing. Her runway, again, it's just my top pick of the week because, come on, look at it. Just look at it. It was so mesmerizing and abundant and full of references. It was just so good. And also, Drag Race Italia has a thing with blood. Like, there's blood in every single runway nowadays on Drag Race Italia. But yeah, just pure perfection. Great week for La Diamond again. And now let's discuss the looks of the top 4 in the grand final. Now, I won't go into detail of the episode because I want to do that, but in another video, which is going to be a review of the entire season and in which I want to discuss certain things regarding the finale, the production, the way the production of Italia handles certain things. So that's a story for another video. Let's just go into the looks. I loved La Petite Noir's look. I loved it. It was so on brand, so true to her aesthetic and her drag, and I loved the homage to her background because she's a dancer, and I didn't agree with the critique of the judges. They said something like, oh, I wish I'd seen something else from her in the final than a dance reference, and I'm like, why? No. That's the eleganza extravaganza. It should be about her drag. It should be the biggest representation of her drag, of her identity, and she's a dancer. That's her background. I love the homage to it, and great look. The only thing, it's because of the lighting, I think black gowns don't appear as great as they are, in my opinion, on the stage of Drag Race because of the lighting. It's a difficult color for that staging. Aura, in my opinion, was the biggest surprise of the night. The runway was never her strength. Like, her runways were always a bit shaky. But when she came out on the stage with this beautiful white bridal gown, she took my breath away. She looked so good, so cute. Her face, her hair compared with the outfit. She looked like a diva from other times, and it was so regal and rich, and she was living her best life, and you could see that. And this beautiful look paired with her ability to sell a garment on the runway, it was just perfection. Like, what a great ending for this season for Aura. And then we have Nelenia, who had this super cute look. Like, I loved it. I loved the reference to Cinderella and to Pretty Woman. It was so on brand. She was comfortable on stage. Like, it was a very good presentation. But if I have to be honest, I preferred other looks from her throughout the entire season. Like, I don't think this was her best look. That's the only issue I have with it. Not that the look itself, it's fine. It was not, I was expecting more from her because of how good her looks were for the entire season. Still, the gown is great itself. And the references and the concept, everything was on point. And finally, we have the winner of Drag Race Italia Season 2, La Diamond. I really want to give her credit for doing an amazing finale because people are saying, oh, it's not a shock, it was predictable because she did great for the entire season. Yes, that's true, but she did great also in the finale. She had, in my opinion, the best look of the night. It was so rich and detailed and on brand for herself. Like, it was so good. Look at it, full of references. And this was a real extravaganza. This was extravagant. This is what you expect from a Drag Race final episode. Like, that's just the epitome of eleganza extravaganza. And she did it on brand. She did it with references to Venice and the Carnival and Marilyn Monroe. It's just... I'm tired of saying it, but it's just perfection. It's just perfection. And she did a great final episode, and her win was absolutely deserved, not just because of her track record, but also because of how well she performed in that final episode. I'm so happy. She's a legend, and this is the recognition that she deserves. Great competition, great job, a diamond. This is just... It has been a pleasure seeing you slay for the entire season, really. And that's all for today, folks. I'm going to do another video in which I will review the entire season in a more detailed way, and I will talk about the finale into detail. I'm going to talk about the other girls and about production. So just wait for it. It's coming in a few days. And for today, yes, please consider subscribing because it would be very, very, very helpful. And that's all. Bye. Bye. Bye.